Hello students, good morning to one and all. Let us start with our new semester and a new subject. As we have dealt with structural mechanics 1 in our previous semester, now we'll be dealing with our structural mechanics 2. But if you see with our structural mechanics 1 and structural mechanics 2, structural mechanics 2 is a bit difficult when we compare with our structural mechanics 1. But if you go on solving much number of problems, then it is quite easy. Now let us start with our the topic. Now please let me share my screen. Now here if you even see, we have structural mechanics 2. Now if you see with our structural mechanics 2, according to our syllabus, the code is BTCVC 502. Now quickly we'll go with our course content. What is the course content we have? Like as you all know that we'll be having 6 modules. Total of we'll be having 6 modules we'll have. Now if you see with our first one we'll be having about your analysis of the trusses. Now if you see with our analysis of truss, if you see with our first unit, we have analysis of trusses. But previously also in our structural mechanics 1, we have dealt with our determinate or indeterminate structure. There we have even dealt with like how to go, how we have to know that whether the structure is determinate or whether the structure is indeterminate. Fine. The same thing here also we'll learn, but here we'll be learning with a new method known as energy method. We have a new method known as energy method, and using this energy method we have to find out whether that structure is determinate or indeterminate for your pin jointed trusses. Only for your trusses we have to find out whether that structure is a determinate or whether that structure is an indeterminate. Now let us go with our module 2. Module 2 is nothing but we are going to talk about moving loads and influence lines. So this is a new concept we have. But if you see with your if you see with your strength of materials, there we have learned about your like if you see we have a shear force diagram, we have bending moment diagram. Whatever this shear force or bending moment diagram we have given, that one was for your stationary loads. Yes or no? That was for your stationary loads. But here we are going to see about moving load. This is something interesting. If you see about moving load, let us take an example of a two-wheeler. When you drive a bike on your bridge, like what are the forces, how it is going to happen, like what the force, whatever you have, we have a wheel, we have like two wheels, we have a person sitting and we are driving that vehicle, or even we take a four-wheeler, or even if we take a big like car, or even if we take a eight-wheeler, or even if we take 16-wheeler, we have. Fine. What is going to happen on a bridge? Fine. When these moving loads will go on a bridge, fine. So what is going to happen? What are the reactions are going to develop? How the forces are going to distribute? So that all we are going to again draw a diagram, which is nothing but we call it as influence line diagram. Fine. So there we are even going to find out how these forces are going to implement, how these forces are going to be moving from one place to another place. Now let us go with our next concept. Next concept is also we have cables, we have suspension bridges, and we have arches. We have 3-inch arches over here. We even have two arches. We have 2-inch arches, we have 3-inch arches, but here we have only 3-inch arches. We are even going to talk about cables. What are the different types of cables we have, how we have when we go with our cable, the best example we even have in our Nagpur, where we call Ram Setu bridge. We have find near railway station where you can just see. So there we have cable stud bridge we call. So how it is going to occur? Fine. What are the forces are going to come with our cables? Now similarly we have suspension bridges. The next concept we have about here arches. We have only 3-inch arches here we have. Fine. The next concept, even if you see with your module 4 and even if you see with your module 5. Module 4 is a flexibility matrix method. These two module 4 and module 5 are matrix methods we have. So module 4 is your flexibility matrix method, and the module 5 is your stiffness matrix method we have. So module 4 and module 5 are nearly similar, but we have different methods. The matrix is same, but we have stiffness matrix method, we have flexibility matrix method. Then the last concept, if you see, we have about here module 6, which is nothing but a finite element method. But here we are going to deal only about the introductory part about here finite element method. What is the introduction about your finite element method? Why? Because we have a complete subject of finite element method in your upcoming semesters. Now students, let us start with our unit 1. Now if you see with our unit 1, as we have even went with our syllabus, what is your unit 1? Unit 1 is nothing but determinate and indeterminate structure. What do you mean by a determinate and what do you mean by an indeterminate structure first? Fine. But before going with determinate and indeterminate structures, first I just wanted to clarify what is meant by a structure. What do you think what is meant by a structure? Structure, always whenever you see about a structure, it has to come in your mind that structure consists of basic 4 to 5 components. We have 4 to 5 basic components. What are those basic 4 to 5 components? We have, first thing we have slab, second thing we have beams, third we have we have columns, fourth one we have about your footings. Fine. So these are the basics like components which are very much required. Now here he has given you the same thing. A structure is an assembling of the number of components like slabs, beams, columns and foundations, which remains in equilibrium. If they remain in equilibrium, then only the structure will be stable, or else it will not be stable. Now let us come with our classification. If you see with the classification based on their shapes, if you see upon their shapes, what are the shapes we have? If you see what are these shapes are going to do, you just tell me. If you talk even about any shapes, fine. Now what are these shapes? Like I'll tell an best example. The shapes, if you take, we have circular, we have columns, we have rectangular columns we have. So this is a shape we have. What are these shapes? The basic criteria of this shape. What is the basic criteria of this shape? The shapes are nothing but this has to transfer its loads from where it is going to take. Let us take an example of a slab. What this slab will do? This slab will transfer its load to a beam. This beam will transfer its load to a column. This column will transfer its load to a footing, and it transfers to the foundation transfers to load to its soil. Yes or no? So the same thing here he has given. Structural members and the systems which play the role of receiving their service loads. It has to receive its loads from the upper end or from wherever they are getting. They have to receive it their loads, and they have to transfer these loads to another member. Fine. So their service load at a certain point and transmit them safely to the certain other point. So the if you take an example of a slab, this slab will transfer its load to a beam. The beam will transfer its load to a column. So this is going to happen, which is nothing but it has to transfer its load to a one point to another point. Let us come with our next one. We have a skeleton structure. Skeleton structure is nothing but we have columns, we have slabs, we have beams, we have foundation. So these type of structures are known as a skeleton structures. But these skeleton structures are being divided into two types. First one is about here pin jointed structures we have. Now, if you see with your pin jointed structure, pin jointed, fine, you can please read it. It is a pin jointed structure. Now, if you see with your pin jointed structure, the example of a pin jointed structure will be your riveted and bolted joints. We have a riveted joint, we have a bolted joint in steel structures if you talk. So I just wanted to show you, you might get a doubt, what do you mean by a riveted joint? What do you mean by a bolted joint? Bolted, I think most of the students, you know, bolted is nothing but we have a screw and a bolt and we have to just fix it. Yes or no? So these are the bolted joints. But if you see with here, riveted joint. Now here if you see what are these small points, if you see, this is nothing but a rivet. You just take a rivet, if you just fix it, it is going to fix firmly. Fine. So these are nothing but we call it as a rivet. Fine. So these are the riveted joint. Similarly, if you go with our next one, which is nothing but a bolted. So here you can see we have a bolt, we have a nut. Yes or no? So these are our bolted connections we call. So these basically you can see in your steel structure. So these structures are known as pin jointed structures. Now let us come with our next one, which is nothing but a rigid. Rigid is nothing but which is firmly fixed, which is fixed. So the structure, if you take about your RCC, if you take any RCC framed structure which is very fixed, yes or no? Yes. Then these structures are known as your rigid jointed structure. The example here I have given you. So here you can see this is our rigid jointed structures we call. Fine. What are the basic components of rigid jointed structures we have? We have columns, we have slabs, we have beams, and we have foundations. Fine. Now let us come with our more classifications in your skeleton structure. If you go with your more classifications with your skeleton structures, again it has been divided into two types. We have a 2D frame, we have 3D frame. Now if you talk about here two-dimensional, two dimensional is nothing but we have y axis, we have x axis. So we have only two axes. So that frame we call it as a plane frame or a 2D structure. Fine. Now if you take an example here, I have given you. Fine. So here you can just see we have an y axis. Here we have an x axis. But still I have even given a loading on this one. Now if you see with the loading pattern here, and have even drawn with a shear force and a bending moment diagram here. Now let us go with our next concept. Next concept is nothing but a 3D or we call it about here space structure. Space structure is nothing but we have three axes. What is the one extra axis we have, which is nothing but a Z axis we have. Fine. Here I just wanted to show you a diagram. Here if you see, you can see a frame, fine, which has all the three axes. We have X axis, we have Y axis, and even we have Z axis. All the three axes are there. So that type of structure we call three-dimensional, or we even call it as a space structure we call. Yes or no? Now let us take in this 3D or 2D only, we have to even know what is meant by a pin jointed structure, what is meant by a rigid jointed structure. Yes or no? But because in a previous slide we have went with our pin jointed structure, we have went with our rigid jointed structure. So let us take with our examples of your pin jointed structure. What are the examples of pin jointed structure? We have steel structure. Now here you can see this is a steel structure, where you can see the structure in the industries. Wherever you go with your industries, you can see such type of here structures. Now similarly, even if you go with your next concept, which is nothing but girder. Girder is nothing but below the bridge. If you see, we have these girders placed. Fine. These girders are used to transfer its loads. Fine. So here you can see this is a girder which is very huge. We just lift it with the help of a crane. We just fix it on two piers. If this is a pier 1, this is a pier 2. On these two piers, I'll just fix this girder. Fine. On this one again, we'll place our platform so that the vehicles can go. So that is the reason this is known as a girder. Now let us take with our next one, which is nothing but a transmission tower. So here you can see this is a transmission tower. What is the use of this transmission tower? Which is used to supply electricity from one place to another place, which are very far. Fine. We just wanted to supply our power or electricity. Fine. So these structures we require, but these all the three structures comes into your pin jointed. Fine. Now similarly, even if you talk about here next one, we have RCC. We have RCC frame structure. What is meant by an RCC? But this RCC structure comes into your rigid jointed frame. This comes into a rigid jointed frame. Now let us take an example. Here I have given you a diagram of a rigid jointed frame. Now let us further go with the classifications of your skeleton structures. If you see, we have further classifications based on its determinacy. Now if you see with the determinacy, we have static determinate structure, we have static indeterminate structure. Now let us talk with our static indeterminate structure. What do you mean by determinate? Determinate already have given you. Determinate is nothing but when we have three equilibrium equations, and when the structure can be solved using these three equilibrium equations, then such a type of a structure is known as static determinate structure. So what are the three equilibrium equations we have? Summation f of x is equal to 0 we have, summation f of y is equal to 0 we have, and summation m is equal to 0 we have. So these are the three equilibrium equations we have. Using these three equilibrium equations, we can solve the structure. But using these three equilibrium equations, if you are able to solve the equations which are unknown, then that type of structure is known as statically determinate structure. Now similarly, the examples of statically determinate structure, again if you take, we have simply supported beam, we have cantilever beam, we have three hinge arches, and we have overhanging beam. You take any of the example, you solve it, you will be getting only three equations to solve it. So those three equations I can solve using these three equilibrium equations. Fine. So the problem is quite easy. But when we'll get the difficulty, when the structure is indeterminate, or we call it as redundant structure, statically indeterminate, or we even call it as redundant structure. What do you mean by indeterminacy? Indeterminacy is nothing but when I have more number of unknowns, when the equilibrium equations are only three. I have only three equilibrium equations: f of x equal to 0, f of y is equal to 0, and m is equal to 0. I have only 3 equilibrium equations, but the number of unknowns are more than these 3. So such type of a structure is known as statically indeterminate structure or redundant structure. So let us take an example of this one. What will be an example of this one? We have continuous beam. We have like continuous beam. Even you can see in your houses, from one room to another room, even if you go, the same beam is going to continue. Fine. So there, if you see, we have continuous beam 3, 4, 5. There we have any like n number of supports we have. Like there you can see a column. We have column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. So we have like let us take it as 4 or 5 number of columns we have. We have there you are going to generate 4 equations you are going to generate. But when you see about 4 equations, we have only 3 equilibrium equations. I can't solve this one. So we should have some method to solve this one. Yes, so here we are going to talk about an energy method. Not now, but in my previous lecture I will be talking about like energy methods. But here if you even see now classifications of here statically indeterminate structures, we have this statically indeterminate has been divided into 2 types. One is here external indeterminacy we have, the other is here internal indeterminacy we have. Now you have to know what is meant by an external indeterminacy and internal indeterminacy. But I just wanted to clearly explain you about here first thing about your indeterminacy. What is meant by indeterminacy? If the number of unknown reactions are more than the number of equilibrium equations available, then the structure is called indeterminate. The same thing I have explained you. If I have 4 equations or if I have 5 equations, but the unknowns are, but the equilibrium equations are only 3, I can't solve this equation. I can't solve that structure. Yes or no? So then that structure is known as indeterminacy. And the degree of indeterminacy here, if you see, the degree of indeterminacy is known as static indeterminacy we have. So this static indeterminacy has been divided into 2 types. One is here external indeterminacy we have. The second one is about your internal indeterminacy we have. Now let us go with our external indeterminacy. What is meant by an external indeterminacy? The word itself tells external, which means that we have external forces. The external reactions which are going to develop on a structure are known as external indeterminacy. The same thing here he has given. Fine. Now if you see, it deals with the number of unknown support reactions in excess. Please be careful. In excess of available equilibrium equations. I have only 3 equilibrium equations, but the support reactions, if you see, I have 4 equations or I have 5 reactions I have, then that type of structure we call it as external indeterminacy we have. Now I just wanted to show you how many external indeterminacy will be there for 2D structure, for a 3D structure, and what are those 3 equilibrium equations I'll even tell you. So even if you take with your 2D structure, we have equilibrium equations we have are 3. What are those 3? We have f of x equal to 0, f of y is equal to 0, and moment is equal to 0. But if you talk about your 3D structure, fine, whenever we talk about 3D structure, the number of equilibrium equations are 6. Why we'll get 6 equilibrium equations? Because we have an extra axis. What is that extra axis? That extra axis is z axis. Already we have y axis, already we have x axis. But if you see about your extra axis, that is your z axis, that it is going to come. Now even if you see here, we have 3 plus 3, 6 total. But f of x equal to 0, f of y is equal to 0. Sorry, here it should be f of z is equal to 0. Similarly, moment is xy, moment m xy 0, m x z 0, and m y z 0. So these are the total 6 equilibrium equations will be generating for a 3D structure. Now let us talk with our internal indeterminacy. You have to know structure, like we have to know what is meant by, first you have to know what is meant by determinacy, what is meant by static indeterminacy, what is meant by external indeterminacy, and the last concept, if you see, we have internal indeterminacy. What do you mean by internal indeterminacy? The word itself tells internal indeterminacy is nothing but whatever forces are going to generate. If this is my member, if the forces are going to generate in this one, fine, there might be a tensile force, there might be a compressive force, but the forces are going to generate in the member. Those forces are known as internal indeterminacy. The best example here is we have shear forces, we have bending moments, and we have axial forces. But let us see what is meant by internal indeterminacy. It deals with the internal reactions or the forces in excess of equilibrium equation. The same thing I have said you. What are the internal reactions are going to develop? But these internal reactions, if they are more than the equilibrium equations, then that such type of a problem is known as internal indeterminacy. This indeterminacy might be due to your external, it might be due to your internal. We can't always tell that this is only due to your external, or we can't tell that this is only due to your internal. But whenever you add these two, external plus internal, then we can tell that yes, this is statically indeterminate structure or statically determinate structure. So what are the indeterminate what are the forces in this one? The forces are shear force, bending moment, and axial forces we have. Now I just wanted to show you like what are the shear force in 2D frame, what are the shear forces in 3D frames we have. Now if you see with your 2D frames, the shear forces are f of y is equal to 0, it is going to act, yes or no? So this is the only force we have. But if you see with your shear force with 3D frame, we have one more z axis, we have y axis, and we have z axis. Now similarly, if we take with our next one, axial force is nothing but we have with our y direction, fine. Similarly, even we 3D structure, even if you talk, we have only one y direction. But when you talk about your bending in your 2D, we have only one bending force, which is nothing but mxy is equal to 0. But when you come with your 3D frame, we have three moments. Here you can see. So bending moment with 2D frame, we have mxy is equal to 0. But whenever we come across our 3D frame, we have three moments. One moment in xy direction, the other moment in xz direction, the last moment in yz direction. So this was the basic introductory part about your what is meant by determinacy, what is meant by indeterminacy, what is we have learned about static indeterminacy, what is external and what is internal. So thank you. In the next class, we'll go with our equation, how to solve static indeterminacy with the problem.